See if I even have a beer right now.
You need to be more prepared for this stuff, Dan.
Usually I am. Usually I'm good. This whole day. Here, wait. Let me turn on my lights.
Wait, but I don't have the link.
I just sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
In the chat window. Let me tell you the whole thing about today.
Yes.
Okay. I had an 8:45 client call, coaching call, and a 10 o'clock meeting that I had to be at. I had to actually go to the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so when I set it up, I was like, okay, the meeting's like 20 minutes away from the office, so what I'll do is I'll take the coaching call in the car.
Yeah.
I'll just do it mobile, and then I'll be there and I'll walk out. So this morning I roll out of bed. I'm like, what's on the calendar for today? I look at the calendar and it says 8:45, and I'm like, great. I'm like, okay, I've got an 8:45 and a 10. Got it. Go to the office, settle in, have a nice call. And like at 8:50 or like 9:57, I look at the calendar and realize, oh, I have to actually be there, and it's 20 minutes away. So I am like running. I won't even get into the stupid car problems I had. And I had to call them and be like, can we delay it by 20 minutes? I sped the entire way there. Then they went like 10 minutes over. So I'm speeding on my way back here. This was supposed to be, I thought I was going to have time to go to Chipotle. There's a Chipotle in that town. I thought I was going to be able, I love Chipotle.
Do you do?
I was looking forward to Chipotle all morning.
Dan, you look dark. Put your lights on. I can't see you.
My lights are on.
I know, but I can't see it. You're all dark and shady.
I am always dark and shady. Let's do bright. How about that?
Now you're blurry.
Angelic.
I'm trying to check
Patti.
I'm trying to check the status of your.
Come to the light, Patti. Patti.
Come away from the lights.
Oh, we feel so good here, Patti. All right, let's see. I think I normally have it on enhanced. Is that a little better?
I need to be enhanced.
You need to be enhanced.
I do.
You
Where's
can't handle the truth.
Where's my enhanced button? Okay, listen. So we're talking about cool stuff today. I have a terrific beer.
Okay, let's talk about beer. I'll get to this week's, because we're talking about WordPress SEO this week. It's an excellent topic.
It really is.
I posted online and asked for questions. I'll see if anybody actually responded. And we'll take it from there. So why don't you talk about your beer real quick?
Oh, okay. I was going to look it up, too. All right, and I have the article for us as well. Okay. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
This is Goose Island Beer Company. Matilda.
Okay.
You see?
I like the bottle.
It is a gorgeous Belgian-style pale ale. It looks like this. This is a line. They have there's Matilda, and then there's also Sophie, which is a terrific beer as well. So these are some of my favorites. So
Sophie is awesome. Is that the didn't I do that on here? Is that the one that's just a white label and it's got the name on it?
Yep. So this is related to it. You know, do you recognize? Sophie's in green. This is in black.
So, but my bottle didn't look like that. It was almost like handwritten. It had a little smiley face drawn on it.
No, that's Maine Brewing Company. You're thinking of Zoe.
Zoe. Okay.
See? Who knows this?
Different thing.
Yep. So, yeah, so this is Matilda. It's terrific. It's described as wild in character, a complex ale with dried fruit and clove aromas and a satisfying dry finish. And it looks this gorgeous.
All right.
Yeah, little cloudy, little yummy. Totally awesome. See, it's really good. I love the balance. I mean, I think like a Belgian IPA is probably, for whatever that means, that's like my favorite beer.
Belgian IPAs?
Anytime I see Belgian IPA, it always ends up being like a serious winner for me. I just think it's just really, really good. Anyway, that's my beer today. Tell me you got something for me. Nothing? Coffee?
I do have something for you.
Okay.
The last beer. I think this is a beer that I bought. It might be Michael's beer. He's not here right now. So I may be drinking my roommate's beer. Let me get a glass.
I miss Michael. Where is he?
He hasn't been in this week. I haven't seen him.
Oh, okay.
We usually have slightly different hours, but if you'll notice, I tossed the cap in there. It did not go in the waste paper basket.
Okay.
It went completely to the side, and I just left it. So I have, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what to expect from this. I just got this randomly, and it's from, let's see if you can.
Hold up.
Can you?
Nope. I don't know.
Can you name the company?
I can't. No, what is it?
Okay, it's Jack's Abbey Brewing.
Okay.
They're in Framingham, Massachusetts, and
Right.
this is the Hoponius Union.
Never heard of it.
You can kind of see it's got like sort of like this weird medieval cartoony vibe going on.
Yeah, I get the.
Traditional German brewing approaches.
Okay.
It says. And it says here, this Hoponius Union harmoniously combines lager yeast fermentation and West Coast IPA hops. Like a traditional IPA with a twist, fermented cold and aged for extended periods. So we'll pour this. Quite light. Let's see right there.
Oh, nice.
Nice color to it. Huge tropical fruit and citrusy hop aroma with a dry finish. 6.7 alcohol by volume.
Very good. Well, I don't even know what mine is.
Smell nice.
Yeah. Oh, this is 7%. How is it?
It's good. It's really interesting. Oh, I'm getting a little bit now. One of the hop finish. It's not immediately super hoppy, but the finish, I was expecting a much hoppier finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a slow, like it's like it finishes and you're like, oh, there's like no hop in the finish.
Yeah.
And then it's like, ooh, like gradually emerges over time.
That's the dry.
Yeah.
That's the dry finish. They can do that. It's interesting how you have you ever brewed beer?
No.
There's a process of adding hops. You have what's called the aroma hops that goes in the beginning of the boil, and then you have this, like kind of flavor hops that goes kind of like towards the end. So you sort of depending on when you add the hop, it either affects the nose or the finish.
It's so I keep kind of going back for it. It's like it's light.
Mm-hmm.
So it tastes very kind of like sparkly, it's dancing around. It's really quite good. So it's interesting because this is one of those beers where, I don't have a particularly developed palate for anything. I don't have a great sense of smell, and so I don't have a particularly sensitive sense of taste. I mean, really,
yeah.
All the time my wife is like, oh, God, this is disgusting, and I'm like, oh, it's fine, I'll just eat, whatever. So this is one of those beers where right away there's nothing to immediately be like, wow, this is freaking awesome. It's just a really well-balanced, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how it's kind of like, it's harder to be subtle than it is to be like, just hops, blah. Like the Green Flash palette record that I had on here, and it really, it's in the name, right? But by the end of it, your taste buds are like fried. Like it's so hoppy. And it's fun to drink. But it's like by the end of it, it's like the last sip of it, you're like, okay, I can do this, This is just like a really nicely balanced, very middle-of-the-road kind of IPA. I would definitely buy a 6-pack of this. It'd be great. It's kind of summer kind of thing beer.
Yeah.
Very nice. So that's Jack's Abbey Brewing, the IPL Wicked Hoppy Lager, the Hoponius Union.
Does it say that?
It says that right on the bottom. The Wicked Hoppy Lager, right on there.
Gosh, that's fun.
Wicked Hoppy Lager from Framingham, Massachusetts. Locally sourced ingredients, it says, and that's cool.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, there's the 10-cent cash refund in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Well, this is a winner chicken dinner all around today with the beer.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. I don't know if they're around here, but that's cool. What's the name of the brewing company again?
It's Goose Island. They're out of Chicago.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, WordPress.
Let's talk about WordPress SEO.
Talk about WordPress.
So, this week's article, I never did the intro.
Oh, do it. Rock it. We're off today, man.
Halfway through?
Yeah, whatever.
You just want to hear my Patti D'Alessio joke.
I do. Although, be nice. Be nice.
Okay.
I need nice today. Be nice to me.
There's some of these are so bad.
I think I'm going to put my hat on. I think I'm going to do this with my hat.
Some of these are good. I want to save some of the good. I'm going to use some of the bad ones because it's the okay. So hello everybody and welcome to this week's SEO and IPAs. It is the fun weekly hangout about inbound marketing, entrepreneurship, and more for cool people of all shapes, stripes, and colors. As always, here with you, I'm Daniel Barrett, here from Two Friendly Nerds. That is TWOFriendlyNerds.com, the world's friendliest web design and internet marketing company. And with me, as always, is the brains behind the operation, officially the only reason anybody ever watches this show. She's starting an online Elmer's glue competitor that's called Gloogle. It's Patti D'Alessio from ReinventInteractive.com. This is ReinventInteractive.com. And I'm going to go on record as saying that's probably the worst one on that list, and I want to get it out of the way. I keep circling around it and doing other ones, so I'm glad I got it done. And your hat is cute, by the way. There you go.
You like this? Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, my wife has a winter hat, and every time she puts it on, I'm like, I find it very cute. As girls in winter hats, I find it's a cute.
Good. Then I'll wear my cute hat then.
It's all like just knit stuff. Just your entire outfit. It'll be great.
Yeah.
What's up, Patti?
It's good. Yeah. What's up? I'm excited to talk about this because you build WordPress sites as part of.
You build primarily WordPress sites at this point.
Yes, and I SEO and advertise for. Do internet marketing for several clients that have WordPress sites. Not all. It's WordPress and Squarespace. I kind of have a love-hate thing with WordPress, I have to say.
Why do you hate WordPress?
I can't get access to the code in a way where I don't break it. So
is that WordPress's fault, or is that your fault?
I'm not sure. It's my relationship with WordPress. It's a broken relationship I have with WordPress. No, WordPress makes me a little bit crazy. I find it a little bit kludgy.
I think that's understandable.
I'm a little too far removed from, and it's not meant, it works out great for my clients who are updating their content and updating their pages and writing copy and writing blogs and stuff like that. That's what it's for. It's a content management system. I find it just a little bit hard to do some of the things that I want to do with it. But that's just my disclaimer from the start. It makes me a little bit crazy. But as far as like SEO goes, as far as managing this stuff that I have to manage, and we should really look at the list as well. It's great. It's perfectly great. I have access to all the metadata that I care about. This article lays out some interesting stuff, right? Can I read it? It's
Yeah, here I'll put it up on the screen for you. Hold on.
So it's the 10 WordPress SEO questions that took me 10 years to answer.
Yeah, okay. So I like this article very much. I thought that title, I was like, there's no way it took this guy 10 years. First of all, I know it's just a title. I get what he's getting at. Yeah. The title kind of drove me crazy because it sounds like he went, he hiked to the Himalayas to meet the guru who could tell him, like, anyway, how does duplicate content affect my ranking or whatever?
Right.
But, so anyway, and I also want to point out his name is Trond. How do you pronounce this last name here? Lyngbh and then O with a line through it?
Lingbo.
What about the line through it?
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't even know that was a character. So first of all, this guy's awesome because I didn't know you could even type this.
Okay, good.
So that's cool. But this was a great question, and this is a great article. And obviously, if people are watching this today, I will post the link to this week's article in the show notes on the events page. I'll go do that now. And it'll also be in the YouTube notes and on our webpage at twofriendlyinterns.com/hangout. So, Patti, why don't you give me the rundown? Because this was something that you suggested to us this week.
It is. So we can just skim through some of these issues. The first one he says is that WordPress is search optimized out of the box, which we know it is not, right? So his big
right. So ask me. So tell us what that means. Like, what's he even saying like that? Because so the question in the article is literally right. Like, is WordPress kind of done for you out of the box? And the answer is kind of like maybe, sort of, kind of, right? So divide that out to people, because most people, or at least a lot of people, have heard that WordPress is really good for SEO, which is true, right? So what's there and what isn't?
Well, I think the implication, and I've heard this before, is that Google has a preference to WordPress. And we've heard Matt Cutts early on. You know, he did go out on stage and say that he really liked WordPress. Do you remember this? Like, if we kind of Google that, there's like this moment.
Matt Cutts, just for people who don't know, is the name of the artificial intelligence that drives the automated cars that Google's invited. Or no, Matt Cutts is the spam overlord at Google.
Yes, that's right. So he manages everything from. But yeah, so back in oh my God, it wasn't that long ago. So wait, I'm actually googling this now. So yeah, so if you Google that, you'll see that there was, they say it's his favorite CMS. They say, it's better. Here's my deal, and this article does touch on this. Is you could very easily screw up your WordPress site. You could very easily add too many plugins, crazy plugins, make it really heavy, make it really slow, make it kind of funky, right? Don't you agree, Dan? Like you could
heavy,
make it
slow, and kind of funky basically describes the music that I like.
There you go. And depressing, right?
Heavy, slow, funky, and it's hard to be funky and depressing. But if you can manage it, that is the sweet spot, let me tell you. Yeah.
To walk that line between depressing and funky, yeah. But
thin line. It's a super thin line.
It's a super thin line. So basically, you could throw yourself up a WordPress site, right? You could, allow it to manage some of your tagging for you, right? It'll handle titles for you. It'll, if you plug in, there's a couple of really great SEO plugins. So Yoast is one, and the all-in-one SEO, is another. I don't know which one you prefer. I kind of like Yoast to a certain degree.
Yeah, Yoast as well.
It will kind of manage your site maps for you if you but there's steps to do, and there's stuff to know, and there's work to do.
There's stuff to do. I think the challenge here, right, is like when people say that, right? So it's like WordPress is kind of done for you out of the box. I think the comparison that's happening, or was originally behind that statement, is between that and coding your own site with HTML.
Right.
If you build a site in HTML and you don't have a title, you don't have a meta title, there's just no title. Yeah.
Right.
WordPress defaults a lot of those behaviors, even like relatively smart URL creation and stuff like that, defaults a lot of that out so that a lot of people don't even remember that they used to have to do that. Right. Like you used to have to sit down with a text file and figure out what the title was going to be.
And I've done that. I've done that a whole bunch. Sure.
Yeah. So I think and I'll say this to my clients a lot. I'll say WordPress will handle a great deal of the technical SEO stuff that people used to have to handle for you out of the box, which is true. Set up well and set up, intelligently. A lot of that stuff is sort of taken out of the picture, but it doesn't mean that there's, the problem now is that SEO means something so profoundly different than it used to mean. Right. SEO used to mean. It used to be. I'll put your keywords in all white at the bottom of the page.
Exactly. Yeah. It used to be this big and evil, and then they caught on, and now it's really all the inbound stuff that you do to drive traffic to your site and to drive conversions and sales, right?
Right.
So, or at least that's how I kind of approach it. So the first point is that WordPress is SEO optimized out of the box. Well, kind of not really, but you still need to know what you're doing, right? The next one is, I've installed an SEO plugin. That means I don't need an SEO. Well, good luck. And he's like, I think his answer here is no. There's right. There's no SEO plugin that can cover all elements of SEO.
Right, and again, we get into this sort of like primary misunderstanding, right? Where it's like, okay, does SEO mean all the little technical doodads that I do on the page, which could theoretically totally be automated, right? Or is it this kind of weird hybrid that SEO has become, where it's like kind of like half public relations, half social media, half technical support,
right?
So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously nobody can handle that stuff. But I think most for well, I don't want to bicker with this guy, which I feel like is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't need a professional SEO consultant if they know how to work the plugin and they're smart and they're just doing their thing. For most people, that's fine. I mean, you think you get into like, when you get a company like Coca-Cola or something, it's like, well, I installed Yoast, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to save $500 million a year. Then it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, a lot of it depends, Dan, right? It depends on who your competition is, where you rank among your competition, historically how your domain has been behaving, right? Do I need an SEO? Well, every business owner is Googling themselves, and either they're happy with what they're seeing or not, and they either need to optimize their content in the best possible way to, reach those that are searching for their products and services, or they don't. And there's a lot to know. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of things that you can, if you're not up on Google's algorithm and the news of the day and what's changing, you could kind of, and you think you know better, you could get yourself into a whole lot of trouble. And there's a million and one examples of that. So, I mean, I think this discussion is great. I think it's good to have in context of the most popular content management system that there is, right? So we're on
25% of the web or something at this point.
I don't know. Maybe. Is that what he says?
I think so.
I think it was like that percent of like the top whatever brands. I don't know. Again, it bothers me.
What?
WordPress.
Because it's interesting because it's open source, right? Is WordPress open source?
It is. Yeah. Sure.
So it's interesting because it's sort of a use case or interesting kind of use case for open source software in general, right?
Yeah.
It really pounded the other content management systems, especially anything that was proprietary,
sure.
Right? So, and it did that primarily through the strength of its third-party vendors,
right?
Because the question always becomes, like, if you're like me and you're working with clients who are building new websites, the question's always like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to do X. Well, okay, the development time to develop that is going to be like 50 hours, but I can install a WordPress plugin for $40. It's going to do that too. Do you want to do that?
Right.
It's really hard to compete with that kind of third-party environment. Same reason on the totally separate side of that scale that Apple friggin' crushed early smartphone stuff because they had apps, because they had an app development ecosystem.
Right.
Right. So anyway, that's sort of off topic, but I always find that interesting about WordPress. WordPress is basically like took the Apple model, or it didn't even take it, just kind of grew around it, but really kind of crushed it. So it's always interesting to look at those business models and say, like, how does that apply to other businesses or whatever? But yeah, let's keep talking, because WordPress SEO, I mean, I would guess most people watching this are using WordPress in some format, so let's kind of keep going. So number 3 on this article was, how do I choose the best WordPress SEO plugin for my website? I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. It doesn't really matter. I mean, that's my opinion. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't. I like Yoast. It works totally fine. I find some of their stuff around sitemaps a little funny. Maybe you can teach me a thing or two about that. I think that's a little bothersome, but okay. So then 4 is choosing a good hosting solution. I don't know. I think so many people do that well enough, don't you think?
Well, yeah, there is stuff that goes into specifically WordPress hosting. I mean, I think again we get into the question of, is it this for most businesses? For most businesses, they could host their website on the back of a turtle. It's not really going to make any difference, right? It's largely about when you are running very large sites or running sites at scale, then you get into WordPress hosting solutions that are really specific to that system, because WordPress, is one of its weaknesses, doesn't tend to scale particularly well without a fair amount of tinkering.
Okay.
So, you get into that for them, but it's like, yeah, if you're like the local dentist and you're just, you're doing a couple hundred people a month, is it going to matter? No. I mean, it's like with any other web host, you're looking for speed, really, right? Speed and uptime and all that fun stuff.
Right. Okay, so question number 6 is, what's better for SEO, installing WordPress on a new domain, subdomain, or subfolder? Okay, so this is a big question. This is where we talk about whether or not your blog is going to be, like blog.yourdomainname.com or yourdomainname.com/blog. Or other variations. I think it's been proven over and over again, Dan, and I've seen this, and there was just something out at Moz too that really says that everything being in a subfolder where it's yourdomainname.com/something else gives you the most control, the most link juice, right? The most credit, the most ownership, right?
The most money, the most women, the most drugs. Yeah, Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know. I had really no idea. When you get to this kind of thing, and I think typically the differences are fairly minor. Again, unless you're talking about like huge amounts of traffic, right?
Well, yeah, you're right. It does have to be statistically significant to reap the best value, but also, I have people that I know that have their website, and then they've got like a Blogspot, Blogger, whatever, off-domain blog that's doing well, that's getting traffic, that you're building, you're investing
that strikes me as
content.
Dumb.
That's just, what'd you say?
That strikes me as kind of dumb, or just something that somebody did because they didn't know any better.
Well, people do that. People that are in the know do that, and it makes me crazy. And I'm like, listen, you got to take that blog, you got to move it on, you got to own that in your domain. You have to take credit for the traffic, and you need to build equity in your domain. Right?
Or is that a specific strategy because they're saying, like, okay, my website's not particularly well known, but the blog, if I put it on Blogspot, for example, I'm getting some kind of domain rank kind of pass to me. Is that...
No, you don't own that domain. You don't own that domain. That doesn't pass.
But you could, but does Google not, if given two choices between two blogs, and one's on Blogspot and one's on some website that Google doesn't know, will it not prefer the Blogspot blog, or it just doesn't matter?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be worth assessing what kind of organic traffic you get, but if you've built a blog and you've built an audience around it, and you are maybe combining that with your email campaigning to drive traffic to that blog, I would say build it on a platform that you own, so you can.
Oh, right. You want to own. You want to own this. Yeah. You want to own the audience you're building.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So I guess it's just like, but that's if you have people. I'm just trying to come up with a reason for why people do this. I think most people do it because they have a website. Their website doesn't have a blog set up. They're not technical, so they Google like how to set up a blog, and they find WordPress.com or
it's legacy, right? It's legacy. You started on Blogspot, now you've got a website, and how do you move one to the other without losing?
You started from Blogspot. Now we're here.
Now we're here, right? Okay. So we have three more. We have 3 more to do. It's already 12:30. So okay. So 8 is my fancy new WordPress theme uses HTML5 and multiple instances of H1 tags per page. Is that bad? It is bad. You only want one H1 per page, right? And he pretty much says that.
Theoretically, right? Now we're talking about semantic SEO. How much does that really matter, though? This is the question I always get into with semantic stuff. So, for example, if I'm working with a client that has this issue,
yes,
is it worth a redesign or worth a recoding to address it?
It depends. It depends how expensive it is. It depends on the level of effort. And can I tell you, I just went through this issue last week. I have a website that happens to be on Squarespace for a really terrific client of mine, and installed was a banner that was on the top of every page, like a call out, like a new idea that lived on every page with an opt-in, and it contained H1s, and I'm like, listen, I want this off. Every page is going to look like it's about the same thing if we don't start ranking and prioritizing and feeding the search engine some kind of prioritization, some kind of indication as to what's on the page and how to think about us and how to crawl us and how to index us. So I really took a big stand and said, get that H1 out of that header. It's, it's working against me. So as an SEO, I fight for conversations like this and for arguments like this. I really want to see it done that the page has primarily, ideally, one H1 that really, specifies what's on that page. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's like you have to put a dollar amount on it.
Yeah, if you do that, then it's another discussion. I mean, he was willing to, kind of change it, but usually it's not that expensive of a. I don't know.
You just gotta kind of change the CSS, or kind of change the way.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so number 9 is how can I improve my SEO with WordPress widgets? What do you know about this, my friend?
Well, okay, so my kind of, when I was playing this game where I was reading the question and then not reading what he wrote and seeing the question. Right?
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand the question.
Okay.
Originally, I was like, you're using the widgets to improve your SEO, and I'm like, I'll always put my contact info in the sidebar, right? Because I'm like, then footer, right? So the contact info address is on every page for local SEO. That's good, right? Okay, yeah. All right. And then I was kind of like, hey, I don't really know what you're asking me. So reading what he said, and he gets into contextual navigation, right? So where he launches it. He says, okay, on the sidebar, you only have certain menus and certain pages, is what it boils down to.
Right.
But that's more of a usability thing, and he says, like, well, usability is SEO, which I accept, but I guess I didn't really get where he was going with the question. So you can, there's a number of free plugins for WordPress that allow you to do, set up rules for widgets so they only display on certain pages.
Okay.
So you can have certain menus pop up in certain areas and not on others. Yeah. And that's really useful. It's something we use a lot. The problem I've run into with that, and this is sort of not quite off topic, a little off topic, but the problem we run into with that is that it gets confusing when we pass the site over to the client. So if you have a site that has, let's say, 4 or 5 different widgets that are all contextual, they all have their separate rules.
Yeah.
The client's trying to change anything about that or add pages to that. It gets a little wacky.
Yeah.
So, you can code it. You can use like widget context or widget logic, I think is the plugin that we'll use a lot. But it's sort of something that I don't usually want to do it unless we absolutely have to, because it's a layer of complexity that adds to this feeling that people have, kind of like what you mentioned, although yours is more technical than most people, but this feeling people have are like when they get into WordPress and they can't find anything. They can't find what they want because every WordPress theme is different, every WordPress backend is different, it's like everything's somewhere different.
It's all layered and yeah.
It's kind of like, well, you'll get certain themes where the main content area is all widgets. And it's like they're looking for a page, or you're looking for a widget, it's actually on a page, or whatever it is. There's just enough variation and personal style in the way that WordPress handles its backend, and how it can call for information depending on what you want in the design. So usually I'm like, the simplest way we can do it is the best. Now that said, if you've got a lot of like navigation that only makes sense like doing a couple pages, then you do it that way, and it's great. But again, you get into the problem with scale, where it's like, okay, so we've got a ton of pages, everything coded that way is going to be a huge pain in the butt. So then you're looking at something much more custom.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a long answer, but I was just thinking about it. We just did a couple projects with this recently.
Well, I mean, and kind of, I think what it's saying is there a widget that can improve my SEO, right? Well, okay, so there's the idea of navigation, but he's talking about, a social layer that promotes engagement with a community application plugin like BuddyPress. So that's another way. I mean, I think that promotes engagement. Is it direct SEO? Well, maybe it could help build your audience and vice versa.
You're running like a community forum or something.
Sure.
That makes a lot of sense to be like, oh, like recent comments and stuff. But most people, again, aren't doing that.
Right. Yeah.
So he talks about like sharing widgets and stuff like that, or
yeah.
But some of it is kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the whole sharing social media widget thing too, I'm always conflicted on because I usually don't particularly like them very much, and I know everyone says you should have one, and I'm just kind of like,
it's yeah. I mean, my general idea with that is, there was a lot of stuff proven, I don't know, a year ago, where like the face pile, Facebook, like me because here's all the faces of all your friends that also like me kind of idea showed that it increased people liking you from the page, like it was the best way to kind of promote likes. So there's that, but also you need to be pretty confident and certain that you have enough. You have to be to a certain level to master.
There's a detraction that happens when you don't have any shares or anybody that likes you. Then people see the 0 and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
By the way, Facepile, also the name of my serial killer screenplay that I'm working on right now. If anyone out there wants to shop that around.
Oh my God.
No?
You're not right. Okay, listen. So number 10 is, can it hurt my SEO if I'm not using the user's native language? Now, I have a little bit of experience with this. I rolled out a website, a few years ago on a different content management system that's a little bit known for doing multiple languages, and that was Joomla. I don't know if you've ever used Joomla.
I've used Joomla, not for languages, but I've just used it.
I rolled it out in, I think it was like 13 countries and 17 different like locales, meaning different languages within different countries. So, and it was a really interesting exercise. I'm not sure the success, but it did allow it to roll out in multiple languages. So having said that, there may be other, if this is your issue, if you need to roll out a site in many languages, WordPress may not be the best for you, but I don't know, maybe it is. What does this say? His point is,
I mean, maybe you should just focus a little bit and pick a language.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just like trying to play the field with all these different languages.
Pick a language. No. So I guess his thing is, what does he say? WordPress community is already translated. So, yeah. So it's I think that I hate to say it, there may be better options for multi-language, multilingual, multi-locale solutions.
So you could try the I'm trying to remember. You could do the classical, which is just you write it all in one language and then the next language right below, like the Rosetta Stone, and then you have the third one.
No, I don't know that.
You know the stone, the Rosetta Stone.
Do
you really not know what the Rosetta Stone is?
What are you saying? You would put out a website in
you write the same
every
thing
other
times, each on top of another with the different languages.
Like on the back of my shampoo, that kind of thing.
It would be like English, Arabic, French, English, Arabic, French, English, like that.
That would be really tough to do an entire website and a blog like that. No.
Challenge accepted.
No.
Not really.
Anyway, we're so over. And I've drank almost my entire beer.
There you go. You said you needed it.
I did need it. This day is driving me to drink. Anyway, this is really terrific. I appreciate your brilliance, my friend Dan.
No, I appreciate your brilliance. I had fun as always. And so if you tuned in halfway through this tiny bit of a train wreck of an episode, you should absolutely check out the replay on YouTube. Just search for SEO and IPAs, or you can go to twofriendlynerds.com/hangout. That's twofriendlynerds.com/hangout. In a couple of days, we'll have a post up with the episode notes and links and all sorts of fun stuff. We really appreciate you checking it out. Thank you so much. Patti from Reinvent Interactive, you are the best, as always, my wonderful friend. And to everyone out there that watches us, we appreciate it. And as always, optimize responsibly.
Optimize responsibly.
Thank you, Patti. We will see you guys, same bad time, same bad channel, Wednesday, noon Eastern Standard Time next week. Until then. I already said the optimized responsible thing. So
You did.
stay Serpsy.
Warm. Stay warm. It's so cold.
Warm. Stay warm. That's super warm. It's like 0 degrees. All right, guys. We'll see you.